Hi guys, it's me again. It's nazor.ezeh and I come to you with another sit down video. So today, real quick, we're going to be talking about something that really needs to be talked about. Something that most people don't pay attention to, or they overlook it, or they feel like it's not important, or they feel like it's not possible. I'm talking about the fact that these days, it's not only adults that we have to be careful about, as in when it comes to our kids. It's not only adults that, it's just sad. First of all, let me point out the fact that it's really sad that these days we have to be careful about kids around our kids. As in, it has gotten that bad. One, maybe the world is coming to an end, things are happening. Plus the fact that kids are raised differently these days, especially all these woke parents that feel like they are open-minded, they are enlightened, they want to raise their kids the way that they want to raise their kids and all that, forgetting the fact that other children will be exposed to their children, and that their children will rub off their attitude and the behavior that their children pick up from the parents, or the attitudes and the behaviors that the parents let their children feel free to pick up will rub off on other people's children. I don't know, are you getting me? Are you following me? And this video is mainly about sexual abuse. The fact that there are child predators out there. There are children that do these things. Do you know that abused children abuse other children? I don't think that we talk about this enough. I don't think that people talk about this enough. Or maybe they know that these things happen, but they shy away from talking about it because they feel like it's too sad to think about. But hey, your children are involved. You need to pay attention to these things. You need to consider these things, because it is your duty as a parent to protect your children from things like this. Like I mentioned, it is so sad that now it's not only adults that we have to be careful when it comes to our children, that we have to be careful around. Now, you have to pay attention to the children that your children hang out with. Let me even ask, are you a parent that loves all these sleepovers thing, this holiday stuff? You might be an intentional parent. You might be paying attention to the things your children read, what they see, what they watch and everything. But what about other parents? Do you know that there are parents that don't even pay attention to what their children watch? And then you will now let your children go to spend some time, as much as a day or two or even more, with these children, and then you expect your children to come back to you pristine and as innocent as you sent them there. They're not going to come back that way. Children are curious, children explore, children talk about stuff, they show each other stuff. There is a high possibility that your child will go out innocent and come back with things that you do not want her to know, or things that you do not want him to know. That's why I'm making this video, to make you know that these things happen, to alert you to the fact that these things happen, and then to wake you up as a parent, for you to be paying attention to these things. There are child predators out there. It is sad, but it is true. I've read stories on the internet of how children abuse little children, and these children that abuse the other children, I do not really blame them. I don't really fault them. It is what they were exposed to. They were probably abused by other adults. All this abuse that I'm saying that is flying around in this video. YouTube, don't come and sanction me. Anyway, so I'm trying to make a point here. Most of these children go through these things in the hands of adults, other adults, teachers, and other children, and then they come and show it to your child, and then your child will be curious and pick up these things. So we need to be careful. See, you see all this holiday, like I asked, do your children go for holidays? Do you send them for sleepovers and all? Do you even really know their friends? I think you should. If you've not been paying attention to these things, this is a call to action. I'm trying to wake you up to that fact so that you will start paying attention to these things. Pay close attention. One way you can do that is by inviting your child's friends to the house, so that you can watch them and understand the kind of people that they are. And then if you notice that the child that is coming close to your child is exposed to certain things, then you have to cut it off, like nip it. See, I know that the world is so exposed that one way or the other your children will get to know these things, but the goal is to not let it happen too soon. Let them not be exposed to these things at a very tender age where they are not able to process and understand it. Let them be exposed to it at the age where you have actually educated them and prepared them for certain kinds of information, so that they will be able to process it when it comes to them. Are you getting me? Do you understand what I'm saying? Let me know if you're following me in the comment section. But this is what it is. I watch what my children's. I don't let them watch anything. See, I'm very careful. I'm very careful with my kids. I surprise them from time to time. I check their devices to be sure that they are not exposed to certain things, and then I pay close attention to when they are talking to each other, because They share stuff. They talk to each other about things that happen when they go to school. That's one way you get to know these things, apart from inviting their friends to the house to get to watch them and see the kind of people they are. Pay attention to what your children say to each other as well. From there, you will get an idea if something is really going on, so that you will know how to address it from there. You get? Because child perpetrators are just as common as adult abusers. It's so sad, but it is what this world has become. It is really, really sad. And now, let me even ask, do you think that this thing has become very rampant these days? Or do you think that it has always been rampant, but the lack of social media didn't bring them to light? Maybe it has always been rampant, but because there was no social media back then, children were not exposed. No, I think that it has become very rampant these days, because back then there was no social media. Children were not exposed to so many things, but now everybody has a phone, everybody has a gadget, and if you do not monitor them, they can just search engine, let them just type something in Google or which other search engine there is, and it will bring videos, bring pictures, bring up all these things, all these despicable things that you do not want your child seeing. So I feel like it is more common now, it is more rampant now, and I also feel like it is harder to raise children in this generation. What do you think? So if you notice that a child that comes around your child is exposed to some inappropriate content, then you should take precautionary measures to make sure that they are not so exposed to your child, so that your child will not pick up these things. Make sure that your child is not alone with such a child unsupervised, because you cannot cut off your child from having friends entirely, because that one has its own wahala, it has its own side effects. You can't just cut off your child, but you can actually control the extent to which they relate with such children by keeping a close watch on them. Don't say it's too much work. Don't say you don't have time for that. Your child will just spoil in your very before, and then you'll not be crying that when did this happen? How did I let this happen? You are a parent. You should be intentional about it. See, you see this parenting work, is very hard. It's the hardest job ever. It's also the scariest job ever. You cannot run away from it. You cannot shy away from it and say that, oh, I'm so busy, I have work to do. You cannot have work to do because ihe may be narige. You only have yourself to blame. So you have to make out time. You have to be intentional about this. You have to pay close attention. You have to watch them like a hawk. If you notice a child like that, make sure your child is never really alone with that child. If possible, limit that interaction if you cannot be there to watch all the time. You see all this, I'm saying it again, away for sleepover, holiday, I know I'm there. I don't used to do that thing. I don't allow it. If I say that, I don't care whose feelings are hurt. I might be coming across as rash and insensitive and harsh and all that, but it is what it is. It's what it is. I'm being very careful. I don't want my own to spoil. And again, like I mentioned, kids are raised differently these days. There are parents that feel like it doesn't matter. All these things don't matter. They will still be exposed to it later on. So why can't they just watch these things now? And I'm like, what? Isigene. Do you know that there are some parents that instead of talking to their children about abstinence, they give them birth control? They actually give their preteens birth control because they feel like they are of the school of thought that it's going to happen, or rather that it might still happen no matter how much they talk. So instead of letting them get a disease or get pregnant, let them kukuma just teach them how to protect themselves. That's what people are teaching their children now. It's not like back then. Remember then, our parents would tell us, if a man looks at you or if you look at a man, you get pregnant. Or if you sit with your legs open, you get pregnant. Then they used to take like serious precautions. But now, some will just give their children birth control. Give them what they need to even use and still do and still not get pregnant. And I'm like, what's going on? Where is this world heading to? I don't know. So that's why I'm very intentional about these things. I don't do sleepovers. I don't do going for holidays. And then it is not just about being careful not to expose your children to people that are already exposed to sex and the rest of them. It is also about not letting your children hang around people that are exposed to drugs and violence and all that. Bottom line is that you should just be careful about the people you let your children hang out with, because they can be exposed to so much just by hanging out with certain kinds of people. You don't want to do all this hard work and then you let somebody spoil it for you just because they're not intentional about their own parenting, just because they don't really care about what happens with their child, because their own idea of parenting is different from yours, or because they are woke parents. So you just have to pay close attention. It's hard, but it's very doable. It's something that you will not regret. It's stressful. Oh. Even me, I'm talking, I know how hard, I know how tough it is for me to keep watching and keep giving them close marking because they are growing. They are growing. My first is going to be 13 in August. My second is going to be 11 in July. Wow, they have grown. No, hey, Bikono, let me know in the comment section. What do you think? What do you think? Do you think that these things should be talked about more? Because I'm still going to be talking about this from another angle in other videos to come. Because this my hair is just disturbing me. You see why I don't used to like to do all this hair makeup stuff? It used to disturb somebody. It used to distract me. Anyway, so like I was saying, I'm going to be filming videos like this from time to time. Let's talk about these things. Let's learn from each other because you cannot know it all as a parent. You learn from each other. And that's why I follow so many mommy vlogs. I follow, not vlogs, so many mommy blogs on Instagram, so many parenting blogs on Instagram, because I like to learn these things because times are changing and you have to change with the times, or else if maybe narigi and I cannot afford to let my own spoil. So you should do the same. Start looking for all these parenting blogs to follow on Instagram. Okay, so we're going to be talking more about this, but right now let me round up because I don't want this video to be too long. Okay, thank you so much for watching. Nazor.ezeh signing out. Stay safe, stay blessed. We're gonna see ourselves in the next video. Bye.